What's going on, girl?
I made it to another episode of Live and
Girl,
Unfiltered.
if people knew how hard it is sometimes to get on here.
Right.
Woo. All
Baby,
right, what
thanks
you
for
sipping
having
on?
me. I
Let's
am
get
sipping
straight to
on some
it.
passion fruit drink.
That sounds lovely.
Cheers.
Frozen cocktail. Cheers. Hi, guys. Welcome to another night of Live and Unfiltered. I'm your host, Kia Nicole, and I'm joined by.
Your co-host, Chanel Elaine.
All right, let's get to it. Cheers. Hopefully, y'all got y'all drinks. Y'all got something, even if it's water. That'll do. All right, we're going to get started into the first topic. So all of our babies have gone back to, well, not mine, but all of the babies have gone back to school. So I wanted to discuss a topic surrounding school, and we've all been in school before, so it's something that we can personally relate to, involving standardized testing. So I wanted to know, what's your take on standardized testing? Do you feel like it's an effective tool to measure a student's knowledge when it comes to subjects such as math and reading according to their grade level? How do you feel about that?
Baby, sis, this question's so long. The way you said it. Okay, so you're asking my take on standardized testing,
How do you
correct?
feel about standardized testing?
There we go. Okay, so me personally, I don't like it because I wasn't the biggest test taker. Like, I did good when it came to my work, homework, having everything in on time. Definitely did well with that. But when it came to tests, just me hearing tests, especially if they're like, oh, it's the FCAT. You had to pass that to get out of, to get your
Uh-huh.
degree. When they stress tests like that for me, I would get anxious. I would get I kind of psych myself out, put myself in like not the best headspace, if that makes sense. So me personally, I feel like they should, I don't want to say name it something different, but kind of like how they present it to my daughter, for example. I just use her like they'll say, hey, you have an activity to do. And that can either go really well for her or really bad. Because when she says that, a lot of times when she come home and I'm like, hey, did you get a test? She's like, no, I didn't. And she didn't know the whole time the activity was the test. So she never took it serious. So there's the negative side. She's thinking, oh, she's just doing something in class to pass time by. In
Mm-hmm.
reality, it's an actual test. But if they were to tell her it's a test, the teacher at the time that specified this told me whenever she tells kids it's a test, they freak out. So I don't know. It's like my feelings are kind of mixed on it. It's like, yes, you do want to tell the kid, hey, you're going to take a test because they might take it more serious. But if you're telling them, hey, this is an activity, they're going to say, well, it's something I'm just doing in class. Kids sometimes don't finish
Right.
their work, they don't take it
They won't feel as
seriously.
pressured.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that has happened to my child where I had a meeting with her teacher and I guess on one of the tests, she chose makeup. And I was like, well, what question was this? Why Elena would choose makeup? Like, what? I don't think they would ever have given a kid a serious test question that has makeup. And at that point, because again, it was presented like, oh, an activity. So she was giving her thoughts on the question and not answering the actual question. So that worked against her. So I
Yeah.
feel like standardized testing for me, it should be something that maybe you test and you're still allowed to maybe move on to the next grade and maybe take, I
Mm-hmm.
guess how they do it, take like a lower class. But the fact of you pass it, you move on, you fail it, you don't. I don't like that because there's a lot of very much like knowledgeable, smart individuals and they're just not good at taking tests. So,
Uh-huh.
and that's me. Like I'm good when it comes to schoolwork, but the word test is just like, dang, it's worth so much of my grade. I
Uh-huh.
start to, kind
Because
of,
it's usually weighted more. It's always tests are
right,
usually weighted more
right,
than your
and
homework and stuff. So yeah,
right.
that's why.
One exam
Mm-hmm.
could take you down after you work so hard all year long. One
Mm-hmm.
exam could drop you, in the blink of an eye. So it's like the stress of it all will overwhelm me. So me personally, I don't like it, but I do understand why it's necessary. It's to kind of help our kids be where they need to be.
Right. Good evening, Anna. Welcome. So we're answering the
Welcome.
question, how do you feel about standardized testing, and do you feel like it's an effective tool to measure like your child's knowledge on subjects such as like reading and math? So Chanel gave her take, and I feel like I understand its purpose. I understand the purpose of them, but I feel like they should not be weighted as heavily, and it shouldn't be, well, if your kid failed this, they can't go to the next grade. I don't know if they're still doing that. I just know back in our days,
Um,
it was
I
like
beg
that.
to for third grade. If you do not pass your standardized testing in third grade,
So they're
I
still
was
doing it.
I was told
Okay.
kids get five chances. Back then, we only had FCAT. Well, I don't know about third grade, but back then it was to get out of high school to get your diploma. You had to do FCAT, SAT, or ACT scores. Those are
I
three.
hated
So for
those.
third, and believe it or not, I did way better on the SAT and ACT than I did the FCAT, which is weird because the FCAT is
Yeah,
meant to be. It's the
I feel
weirdest
like
thing.
the SAT and the ACTs, like, yeah, I still felt the nervous feeling and
Right.
everything, but I do feel like I had a better outcome. Now, don't get me wrong, I used to do really well with FCAT as well, but I had got like really bad anxiety to where I would be
Yep.
stuck on one question for forever. And I know I'm
Same.
timed. So I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, I have to move on to the next section. And then you start looking around wondering like where the other students are on the
Right.
test. It just gives me really, really bad anxiety.
I wanted to add too with FCAT, it was kind of like I think they made you do it every year kind of thing too. So it's like you had a
Mm-hmm.
chance to pass it every year. So I think it was the fact of the ACT, SATs that once you pass it at one time, you're done. But FCAT was kind of like you have to have this. They need you at a 4, they need you at a 3, they needed you at certain things. So I guess it was just the stress of it all. But outside of that, I know for third grade now, I spoke to a teacher last year that did first, and they told me for third grade they have 5 chances. I don't know if that's for all counties, but they have 5 chances to pass.
That's a lot.
Let's say it is a lot. So they have the FCAT to
They've been
pass.
gracious with these kids. Boy, we had
Right.
a hard. And
Uh-huh.
to say in fourth grade in our county, only reading matters. That's good. Because reading is definitely like, read. Here's
Okay.
my thing. Hold on, I'm going to let you finish your point.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought before you go on a whole nother.
Okay,
Let
finish
me
your thoughts.
let me get
Because
this
I
out.
got
Okay.
something to
So
say.
the 5 standardized testing is one, FCAT, which is still around. I think they kind of call it something different now. They have two where they do those random testing. They have it at the start of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year to see what they know coming
I
in, what
researched
they learned midway,
that.
and
Mm-hmm.
at the end. So there's that. And then they also have another test that they could take, and they could do a summer school where they could do the test during summer. It's like they get to repeat the class in summer and
Mm-hmm.
do the test separately than their class. And there's one more. So they explained it to me, and I'm like, dang, that's a
That's a
lot of
lot.
opportunities. So they have 5 now to get to third grade,
Yeah,
from
because
my
they
knowledge.
really want the kid to, get to the next level, the whole no child left behind thing. So Anastasia, if they failed, there were 4 alternatives, backup tests for them to take. So it's basically like holding their hands to pass. Yeah, basically what you were saying. They literally are holding their hands. I like testing for learning and enrichment. Let's see where they need help. Yeah, like I said, I know the purpose. I just don't. I wish it wasn't weighted so heavily, and because not everyone is test takers, like you said. And I
Right.
wish they just consider like projects and when they have to start writing papers and homework and classwork. I just want them to consider all those things as well. But I do understand like giving all the students like the same exam and let it be a level, playing field. I understand that
Right.
the purpose, I understand it. But for me, I feel like there's so many things we learn, and it's like now we keep our phone in our hands. Honey, if I
Mm-hmm.
don't know something, I'm going to Google it.
Yep.
Doctors do the same thing, especially new doctors, but they probably have their own thing. It may
Yep.
not be Google, but like they have a resource guide as well. Like there's so many resources, and going through school, they made it seem like you got to learn this. You ain't gonna have no other resources, so you just gotta have
Well,
it engraved in your brain.
In
I'm
addition
just
to
like,
that, in addition to that, though, sis, you have to remember too. Back then, when we were learning and stuff, like electronics wasn't like our go-to. They expected you to know how to do math on
that
paper,
is true.
not
We're
at
now in the electronic age.
right.
Yeah.
It's not as big as, oh, well, you get a calculator. No, you had to learn how to do it on your fingers on paper. Like it was very much like the old school way. So
Mm-hmm.
like you could just ask your electronic app how to do this. Where is this located? Where's that? And it's doing the work for you. You got AI. So a lot of times, me personally, what I learned is like when you were in school, especially like in the medical field and all that, like the science behind it is great, but when you come out and you're doing things hands on, you're not gonna stop to be like, wait a minute, let me go in the textbook and figure out how to do CPR. Like you're not gonna.
Yeah, no,
It's just
not CPR. No,
right.
no,
It's just
no.
something you're gonna. It's just gonna click. It's like okay, a patient needs this. A patient, it's gonna click. It's not like oh well, let me think about what I did 1 year ago. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not as perfectly shaped as you would say. It's not put in a box to where like okay, you had to go to school, you had to get education. This is the way you're gonna do in the real world. It's not like you do learn those essential tools, but really in the real world, it's whatever applies at that moment, basically. And
Yeah, I feel like, but I do feel like reading for sure. you got to know how to read. You can't really Google how to
Right.
read. Like, you literally have to know how to read, which is why I do love that Anna says our county, they really only make it mandatory to, like, you have to know how to read proficiently. So I understand that. But all the other stuff, honey, Google, Alexa, somebody. Tell me this, okay? Because we have so many tools now, but like you say, back in the day, we didn't have all those tools.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just that. Anna said fast reading, ready already, Florida enrichment, and some other packet. The writing in cursive isn't you saying isn't mandatory anymore? My son and daughter can't write in cursive, so when they see signature. Okay, they at least need to know how to write their name. Literally, I think that's all you really need to know is how to write your name in cursive. I don't think I've ever really.
My daughter is doing that. She's like, "Look at this cool thing I learned, Mom," and then she write it and then she just connect the loops to whatever. But
so
at least she's
writing like a bunch of words in cursive. Like they're just teaching
like
her cursive.
she's done her name, like she's practiced her name and a few things, but like nothing, not a whole paragraph or a whole sentence, but like stuff. But she understands that it connects and how it's supposed to be look, how the letters are supposed to look and all that. So, and she's just left first now in second grade, so she's been practicing. Not that her teacher has been on it, but that's just something she's picked up on.
And I say they aren't teaching here. I'm teaching them. Yeah, that's crazy. So it might vary per county or per school or per teacher, because I definitely learned cursive in elementary.
I did too, but that's all I used to
But I don't
write.
use it. I only write my name, and nowadays you just scrabble your signature. It don't even be. It's supposed to be. I think you're supposed to do it to where your signature can't easily be duplicated. So you're supposed to kind of, So we're not even really writing cursive for real.
My signature change just about every year. They be asking
me
every year. On my driver's license, I think I had to do something, and they're like, "It doesn't match." And I said, "Listen, watch me do it. It's not gonna match. It's gonna be different every time because I always change it. It's not my name because my name could easily be duplicated. So I'm gonna do something that's hello."
Yeah. I learned too, but I didn't know how to sign checks into my adult life. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about checks. They did teach us. They taught me in elementary. Actually, they did brought a checkbook and everything, and they taught. But ask me if I had remembered that by the time I became an adult. I didn't remember that because I don't write checks. Like that's so. I don't want to say that's so strange.
When I had first got my bank card, and I was so excited. At this point it's a debit card, not a credit card, but this when you learn that the money ain't really free. You got to add money to use it. So went that route, and I'm like, okay, checkbook. I used to like to write the little fake money on the checkbooks and stuff, and steal my parents' checkbooks. That was fun. I never got one for myself because I never understood the use of it. Like they never really. I'm just like, it's money.
Came in handy.
Right, and then you had to wait, go to the bank, you had to sign the back, cash it. It's just so much.
Now listen, I think the elder people still use it. My grandma still using the check. My great grandma still using the checkbook. They love their checkbooks, honey. But me, I have never had to really like
what you say,
write a check for somebody.
Apple Pay.
She said, "What elementary school you went to?" I was in Daytona Beach. I went to Bonner Elementary. Shout out to my school. I definitely remember them teaching us a little bit of 1, 2, and like literally elementary. I don't know why they did it, but it was like 4th, 5th grade though. It wasn't like early elementary. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move into the next topic. That one was a little lengthy, but we got into some things. Took us back to school, and we kind of figure out how we connected the dots from what we learned in school to our adult life. Because the math ain't mathing for me. Anywho, I want to move into something that we have all seen, like in the tabloids or on the blog pages. We recently saw that Young Miami from the group The City Girls did an interview where she was basically being interviewed on her podcast, and she talked about why the group fell out or gave her perspective on it. So I want to speak generally on the topic of groups falling out because that is a common thing I'm seeing. Like not many groups stay together for long. So what, in your opinion, what do you believe is the main reason many female singing groups eventually break up? Like they don't last for long.
I feel like I wouldn't just say female. I just generalize it to be groups in general.
I want to say female.
You want to specify females? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
but it don't matter. You can general. I mean, the reasons are going to be similar, but females we have.
Well, I'm not gonna do females versus. I'm gonna do in general because once you break up, it don't matter if you're male or female. It just the group is no longer there. So I would say,
I don't see many male groups nowadays.
yeah. What is it called? The Migos. They broke up. Like,
Oh yeah, that's true.
right.
They're the only
So,
one I know though. But okay, stop.
right.
Talk
Okay.
generally.
Okay. So I'm gonna speak in general. I think groups that kind of come out in the spotlight, like they do start out. I think a lot of times, like we always, like, I don't want to use the word idolize, but we have this mindset like it's like a trend. It's like a follow trend. Like if a good amount of people like something, then the rest is gonna follow. So I feel like the way they present themselves to us and the way that they present like their music, you know, their personality, the dual complex, I feel like a lot of times we fall in love with the idea of like, oh, you know, they're doing this, they're doing that. You know, we love this person for this reason, we love that person for that reason. For example, you brought up the City Girls. So, you know, at one point in time, we liked Miami for her personality, and she touched on the fact that she felt like she lost her
Mm-hmm.
personality. And, you know, she's just giving who she is. And then their thing is like, I don't know. I think like when they came out with this whole City Girl thing, it's like it was a whole, how do you say, it was like a whole movement in itself. So it's like, okay, these are the rules of what it is to be a city girl. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
once the city girls start changing those rules, the people that are following them no longer wanted to change with them. They're still stuck in the idea of, well, you're supposed to be like this, you're supposed to be like that, because this is what your song said, this is what you do. So I feel like the ideals when they first come out is placed up on us and we accept them, and it's like we don't accept the change that they have. So like Young Miami touched on the fact that a lot of her songs weren't being sold because the individuals that were listening to it are now grown. It's like, don't nobody want to sit here and listen to no city girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to change the dynamic of your music. So I feel like when artists come out and it's in a group, we get this ideal, oh, well, you know, like it's this hype around them. And then it's like, okay, they're a different individual. We start nitpicking, oh, I like this person more because they're more funny. Maybe one goes live more than one. One is more wholesome. One's more, you know, quiet. One's more outspoken. And it's like people are going to gravitate to either or. They're not going to gravitate to both because they're different individuals. So I feel like a lot of times they separate due to that. They start looking at the fact of, well, you know, like, you know, maybe they like us separate. Maybe they like this, maybe like that. And they start questioning the fact. They don't go back to the foundation like, hey, we like them together. We like this. A lot of people are going to start speculating. That's why they say when you get on Instagram, don't ever read your comments, because a lot of times those comments get in your head. They're implanted, like, and you're stuck on that one or two comment, but you don't see the positive. You only see that negative. You hold on to that, and it's like, dang, you know, like she said, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I can't do this, and you start doubting yourself and self-sabotaging yourself. So I feel like a lot of times that is their downfall. They come out being a unit, and then they don't know what to expect in the spotlight. And then once the spotlight hit them, it's all these like criticism, negativity that they have, and it's like they weren't ready for that. And the best thing to do is to fall into the trap of, oh, well, you know, they said we should separate, let's just do it. And then one's gonna grow and one's just not. And you guys are gonna want different things because you're different individuals. So I feel like most times they come out solo because it's just best. You can make your decision and pivot, and people will grow with you. But when you come out as a dual, I feel like it's hard. You're gonna have to pick and choose. You can't
Mm-hmm.
be like, well, I like both. You might, but you're gonna like one more than the other. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree with everything you said. You hit on a couple points there. And it's that growing apart. I think that's the main one. People growing apart in creative differences
Breed.
with them. One of mom and gotta get that money. Yeah, one's a mom and the other missed out from prison.
Right.
Yeah. I think definitely the internet, like Santana was saying in that interview, speaking of them, like the internet, like you say, Shana, definitely can get in your head, especially when you start
Right.
reading those comments and you start seeing like, oh, this many people are siding with this
Uh huh.
group member and they outcasted me, but you probably do have your own set of fans, but like you're only going to see, like you say, the negative. So then you start thinking, well, maybe that is true what they said, or maybe I can't really rap, or maybe this, or maybe she is, better at this than me. I think so. The number one reason is growing apart. I think also sometimes jealousy can come with it as well as y'all start rising to fame. It's like, dang, like this person is like a little bit more in the spotlight than me,
Right.
or like fans are gravitating more to her. So the one might become jealous. I also think too, like when you first enter in, there's not many responsibilities. Y'all are just starting. Y'all may have to still
Right.
build your fan base. The decisions y'all have to agree on may be just a few. But as you start rising, Now there's a lot more money and financial decisions y'all have to agree on, amongst other decisions you have to make. And it's not so easy to make those decisions. You know, with more money come more problems. That's with one person. So imagine a group of people. It's like more problems times however many group members. You know, and it's really harder. It's much harder for group members to agree on all of those issues than if you're just one person. It's like, okay, whatever I say is what it is, because you're just one person that has to make that decision. So I feel like she said in that interview, they were not really seeing eye to eye with a lot of things. And I feel like that just happens because we as individuals, we just grow. And unfortunately, if the other isn't growing in the same direction, y'all are just going to eventually just grow apart.
Right.
So that brings me to, I guess we kind of answered it, but that brings me to the next part of the question. Why do you feel solo artists seem to have a longer career than those who are in groups?
Okay, so I had just touched on that, but I feel like when it comes to solo, like I said, you could pivot. It's easy. Like for example, when it came to Chris Brown, let's just use him as an example. He's had so many eras in music. He
Mm-hmm.
had the little poppy pop. We've had the little innocent voice when he used to sing to the girls and be sweet. And then, we kind of had the bad boy, the edgy. So I feel like he's transitioned, but even despite, things that happen and everything, I feel like we've been able to grow. Like he doesn't really rub individuals the wrong way. His personality sometimes can, his attitude can, but music wise, it's like he could go disappear for 5, 10 years and come back with a hit, and everybody's like, "That's the Chris
Mm-hmm.
Brown." It's like it's just
Mm-hmm.
easy to gravitate to him because we know this is him. There is not no, oh, he's like this because he benefited from someone being in the group. Like, oh, he's this good because he got this from that person. It's like it's always going to be him getting the credit for his work, no matter how long he takes to come back. So I feel like a lot of times those solo artists, like I said, they can grow with an audience and they grow with the times. Like Drake, for example, he's something else. He hop on every trend there is. But
All those accents. What they say, that man got 1,000 accents.
he hop on every song that he can get on. Right. But the thing with him is like he knows how to go, like how to be, I don't want to say controversial, but he knows how to connect with other solo artists the right way. He knows how to get his
Mm-hmm.
sound out there. He knows how to connect. And like you said, he has different fans from so young to so much older. It's not just like a specific age that he kind of sings or rap towards. I say rap towards. He kind of like rap where it's like, okay, something's catchy. Like, you're always gonna be like, oh, I like that beat, and it's stuck in your head. So I feel like a lot of times when someone can use their own personal creativity, we can accept that and we can grow. When you have two different individuals in a group or expect them to move as a unit, and like you say, when one person is growing and maybe want to change, like for example out the city girl ways, and the other person is like, well, no, this is the kind of facade, this is how we came out, this is how we presented ourselves. Now it's hard to pivot from that. We've already accepted you as this raw real person. So then when you want to change it, even though you still are real and raw, we don't see that because that's not what was presented to us. We didn't have an option. You came out as a city girl. We didn't choose that. You put it on us. So now that you want to kind of back up and be like, oh, I'm not a city girl no more, it's kind of like, we're holding you to that standard. So
Mm-hmm.
solo artists don't really come out with that like hanging over them. They kind of come out like, here, this is me. I'm going to grow. I'm going to change. I'm going to have different sounds. I'm going
And
to
we're more accepting of that. Yeah.
Right. Like, for example, Tiana Taylor, like, she is so good. Like, she did, music, and she went to acting, and she went to reality. Like, she's just so universal. So with her, it's like, it's always something coming. So I'm always looking forward for that from her. You just never know. So if she was in a
Love
group, I
her.
probably would have been like, but she's by herself. So I'm like, ooh, I'm seeing all these creative sides, and all the people are
Mm-hmm.
learning. She's, putting, so it's just different. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Anna says, Normani goes harder than the entire group. I'm happy she left Fifth Harmony. Yeah, I feel like eventually you start seeing the star of the group. I feel like it's in our mind to look for who's the star in the group. When
Right.
groups come out, we immediately are just going to look, okay, that person has the star factor. They're the one that's holding this whole group together. Their verses always hit more than the next, or their vocals is hitting more. So I feel like we always can identify the star in the group. And that person is eventually going to leave the group because they don't want holding the group together and they do want more for themselves. So I get it. As a solo artist, you can always rebrand yourself. It's easier most times. Yep, that's what Chanel was just explaining.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you're your own competition. Like when you're in a when you're a solo artist, you're your own competition. You don't have to look to the left or look to the right to make sure that you're on the same beat as this person.
Right.
Literally, you can beat to your own drum. Did I say
Mm-hmm.
that right?
The
Whatever.
on drum.
Something like that. So
Yeah,
basically, what
walk
I'm
to the
saying,
on
my
cue.
girl, is saying,
Walk to the
yeah, like you're
cue.
your own
Yeah,
competition.
walk
Like
to
I said, you can rebrand as much as you need to. So yeah, I
Yep.
think we had kind of already answered that, but yeah. All right, so let's move into our last
There's
topic.
another comment, girl. Captain Black
Okay, I
Manta.
see y'all looking
I
cute,
want to say that
looking
wrong.
like Beyonce and Ashanti.
Oh, well, thank
Okay,
you. Who Beyonce?
thank
Who
you.
Ashanti? Yeah, you
I just
know.
look like myself, but thank
Right.
you.
Appreciate the comment.
Thank you. And welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank
All right,
you for
so I want to
coming
move
in.
into the last
First
question of the
of
night.
all, before we even get further, thank y'all so much for commenting
Yes,
and taking
thank
the time.
you.
We love the interactions.
Yes,
We do.
yes, we do. Because we don't like to really be talking to ourselves. We could talk to ourselves, but it hit different when we can actually speak to y'all and hear your thoughts. So, yes, thank you, thank you. All right, last topic of the night. I want to talk about cancel culture. We all know what cancel culture is. Basically, we cancel an individual or a business because they said something or did something controversial. So, how do you feel about the cancel culture? Do you feel like it's effective? Do you agree with the movement? Let me know your thoughts. And anybody can answer.
So me personally, I ain't never cancel nobody because at the end of the day, I ain't employed them, so who am I canceling? But
You you are so aggravating. Like,
but
yo.
to be untechnical, I'm just saying I feel like yes, cancel culture is very much real. I feel like it. I like the fact that we do have that now. We shouldn't be canceling the wrong people, but people, I feel that do deserve it for whatever reason in the public. Maybe if they rub the public the wrong way, and it's been like a mass amount of people that disagree with this particular person. I feel like yes, they should be canceled because at this point in time, like you've gotten the chance to change behind doors, you've gotten a chance to be a better person, you've been in the industry long enough to know right from wrong, you chose the path that you chose. So I feel like a lot of times it's not a mistake why you end up being canceled. We done seen about 5 different mistakes. So at this point, you really playing with us. It's not a oh well, they did it. Oh, we can forgive artists because no one's perfect. But it's like if people keep constantly messing up in the public, and they're presenting one thing in front of us, and then it's something behind closed doors. Eventually, what happened in the dark gonna come to light. So if you aren't that person that you are behind closed doors, we're gonna eventually see that. So for example, I don't really want to speak on Diddy too much, but that's like the perfect person kind
Not
of.
really, but you can talk about them.
Right. I'm like, I don't really care to talk about it. Don't cancel me because I ain't sent for you. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
he like he did kind of rebrand himself in a sense, and he came out with love. Like he just with this love, 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 and he was hitting hard with love. And I was like, dang, well, what this came from? So I feel like he was kind of running from his past, and the past really done hit that Usain Bolt and caught up to him. So I feel like in a situation like that, he's had plenty of opportunities behind closed doors. I'm pretty sure. I just feel like a lot of times people do wrong and they don't think that it'll catch up to them, so they just keep doing it. And it's like one thing about God, He gonna spend that lot by His kids. Okay, so I feel like I would keep cancel culture for sure. I feel like it's very much needed, and because we are the people absorbing what they're putting out, I feel like we do have a say in certain things. Maybe not their career, but we do have a say in like, well, let's cancel this person for like an actual legit reason. Don't just cancel a person
Right,
because they rubbed you.
right.
But like I said, we don't gave them a few chances to get right. But if they just keep messing up, doing things like, obviously doing things that any smart person just wouldn't do, I feel like yeah, they should be canceled for it out the door.
Not out the
First,
door. I do agree that sometimes we just be canceling for the smallest things. But
right.
I love when we cancel and we stand on business, because sometimes we can be too forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cancel culture when we're holding businesses and individuals accountable for their actions. I love it for those reasons. And making businesses like issue out apologies, whereas they may not have done so if we hadn't made this a whole movement saying stop purchasing from this company and stop purchasing from that company, stop streaming this person's music. You know, I do like when we stand together and we actually make them, you know, be held accountable for the actions, and then they issue out a statement. Now, whether they're actually sorry or not is another story.
What Beyonce said, I ain't sorry.
I don't know if they actually be sorry all the time, but we at least make them have to like eat what they did. Like, yeah, you got to eat that. That's the plate you made. Yeah, you're gonna eat everything on that plate. You know, so I like it for that reason. But sometimes we are too forgiving. Like, we cancel Gucci. I don't hear too many people saying, "Oh, remember we canceled Gucci." No, like I feel like we just easily forget.
Wait a minute, when did we cancel him? What he did? All his
no, the company, not Gucci, man. The company Gucci.
Oh, the actual. Well, first
Long
of all,
time that, yes, the luxury
first of all,
brand.
my dog name is Gucci, so we're not gonna cancel the brand.
Anyway, the brand was canceled way back,
Yeah.
but you don't hear too much about it because
I sure didn't.
people don't got over it. We cancel, you know, we cancel other people. We cancel Balenciaga and all these other brands. We cancel H&M. We cancel, you know, all these other brands. But it's like, I guess once they issue an apology, it's kind of like, okay, I guess we can forgive them. We need to.
But sis, if it is an honest mistake and it's not something that they've purposefully done, or like I said, they're not always like problematic, yes, we can forgive them. But if they're constantly coming where it's like something always controversial, or like it's something pertaining to race or something pertaining to politics, like if they're constantly like running campaigns that are very much offensive, yes, they do have the right to be canceled. But if it's something that they honestly like made a genuine mistake on, like I said, we can forgive them.
How do you know it's a genuine mistake? Every company?
Because no, I'm saying by genuine, I'm saying it has happened one time. Like it has not become a public issue this one time. It's not something like, oh, well, we done saw this last week. Oh, this done came back. We're not consistently seeing an issue with them. We might have just seen a fault that one time.
So there's a difference between,
for example, with Revolt TV. Okay, once the whole Diddy situation happened, everybody was attacking them. And what did they do? They got it together.
I never had to attack them.
They got it together. They dropped him, made an apology, and said, okay, you know what? Because he was like some type of, you know, big man up top with the company. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they would have never known. Even if they knew all this all these years, Revolt TV ain't really had, like, from my point of view, ain't really had that much of an issue. So once this became a thing, I'm like, okay, I can understand. So that's what I mean. It wasn't like they weren't being in the media for something, you know, being associated with someone like that. So I feel like we could forgive that because it's like, okay, you know, this happened this one time.
That's fine.
But that's what I'm saying. But if you constantly see the company, like, you know, being shady and doing all that, then yeah, we deserve the right to cancel them. But that's just kind of like how you think about it. If I mess up with you and you my friend, damn, don't cancel me the first time. You know, give me a little forgiveness. Now, I may do something else that irritates you and you may cancel me again. But guess what? There are two different situations where people will make mistakes, same thing. So as long as I don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, you'll be like, all right, cool, she ain't mean it like that. You see what I'm saying? But if I
get what you're saying, right, and I completely understand. Like, I understand you should definitely give grace, and people are allowed to change and to learn from their mistakes. But that's not every company's story. We have to be realistic here. That's not every company. That's what I'm getting at. We're too easy. We don't even let them change their actions first. We just immediately like, okay, well, they issued an apology. Next thing you know, we running in there, but okay, I'm so happy that they're uncanceled. You know what I'm saying? Like, we be trying to hold out as long as we can, knowing we fiending for whatever it was that we just canceled. So that's not every company's story, but yes, I agree we should allow them to change. And if it's not a repetitive thing, like, you know, it's okay to forgive. I feel like, though, this is a personal thing. Like, if you personally still want to cancel these places, right, that depends on your morals and your values. And if you feel like, okay, they just gonna find a more sneaky way to do it next time, you know what I'm saying? Right. You know, every company don't have the same story, but I do understand you like being forgiving and understand that people can grow and change. I totally get that. But I'm speaking from the perspective of just easily forgiving numerous companies and individuals that have done things, and they don't even like give us a chance to like show that they're really sorry. It's kind of like, okay, well, after like literally time passes, and then it's like, okay, enough time has passed now. We can kind of move on from this. So There's that. Anna said, Gucci still canceled. I walk right beyond that store and judge all the black people standing in line. I cancel, which means I don't support. But if I get a Gucci bag as a gift, I'm keeping it. Keeping it. I know that's right.
It's giving sell it if you don't. If you cancel them, sell it.
No,
Go all
she
the
gonna
way,
keep it
Anna.
if it's a gift. Listen, you
Not
ain't
every
spend your
gift, not
dollars,
every
so.
gift is meant to be kept, baby. Pass on the gift to somebody else. Not every gift is meant to be kept.
But yeah, I do. Overall, I love the cancel culture, but you know, it has its pros and cons. All right, moving into the this or that portion, which is the last segment of our live. So we talked about school, and then we talked about, you know, groups and everything. So that's what this or that questions are going to
I
center
hope
on.
these questions ain't too hard, cause baby, I'm not.
They ain't hard at all. You should be able to doop 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 doop. You just
All
gonna
right,
wing it.
y'all.
So
I
come
might
on.
gotta phone a friend down there in the
No,
comments if y'all want to
you're
help
not.
your
It's not
girl.
questions of this or that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
You're
Go ahead. All of
not
them. This,
listening
that.
to me.
All of them. All of them.
Everything is a this or that. This is not a
All right. Go ahead.
trivia.
Then. Okay. You know, I just thought I had to get prepared.
All right. English or math? I already know the answer. Think school. Which was your favorite subject? English or math? Which do you prefer?
Math.
Yeah, I know. I know you're gonna say that. Anyway.
Okay.
English.
All
English
right.
would be ew, Anna. Math. Why do y'all like math? Okay, so why do y'all not like English?
I feel like, okay, for me personally, with English, I feel like, how do you say it? Like, some words for me, hearing the words sound different. Like, the words I used to get confused is lie. Like, we be like, oh, I'm going to go lie in the bed. I always would get that wrong on the test.
So what you
And
say?
I don't know why. Because there's three one. It's lie. It's L-I-E. Is it Lay, and there's another way to spell it, and I would always choose the wrong spelling on my test. So for me, I feel like the differentiation of words when it comes to English, like English have so many words,
It'd be
so many
confusing.
words, and so many ways that it can be said. Like remember with the conversation, just I'm not gonna bring that up, but like saying words different. Like I may say comfortable, and you may say comfortable. Like there's different ways to say the
Dang, that's
word.
kind of the same to me.
But
I didn't hear the difference. But I
there's
get what you're saying. Tomato,
comfortable.
tomato. Okay.
Right. So I feel like a lot of times, and this is what I was saying to you too, like a lot of times English from like UK English in a Caribbean household is different English versus like Americanized
Yeah,
English.
the
So I feel like
US.
sometimes the words and the pronunciation of certain words and letters is different. Like I know in America you would spell check CHECK. In the
Versus
Caribbean it's
a
like
Q.
CHIQUE or something like
Yeah.
right. And I'm like I didn't learn that till I was older, and I'm like it was spelled with a Q. Like and it's pronounced the same way. So I feel like the technicality of English is too much. It's giving headache. It's giving headache. I just need to look at something and figure it out. It's too much. Too much
I
process.
got you. Math is kind of like you do this to get this. This
Right.
equals
I
this.
like science. I love me some
Yeah.
science.
I hate science. Yeah, I love English because I don't know. Every time I walk into my English class, it's just a breath of fresh air. I just know I can just woo-saw because my math class was stressful, you know, or I'm about to go to my math class. I don't know. I love writing, so that was why. Like as a kid, I used to write poems and I used to just like journal and just write all the time and write songs. I used to, girl, don't ask me about my songs. I used to swear I was a songwriter. But yeah, I used to write, so
I had
that's
that
why I
phase.
love
I
English.
wrote a little few songs too, girl.
Yeah,
Played
I
on the
just
guitar.
love to write. I don't know. I love that form of expression. She says, I'm a math and science nerd, but I'm great with English. Math is my preference. So in other words, you good at all of them, but you just like math. Heard. All right, doing homework or taking a test? Which do you prefer?
Oh, baby, I do homework and extra assignment on the side. You can keep the test.
See, I thought that would be my answer, but then when I think about it,
I get you have
anxiety.
to get prepared when you're getting a test. When you have homework, do you know how much resources you have? You're at home. Your parents can help you. You got the computer. You got the
My parents never helped me. They was like, "Oh, you smart. You got it."
Oh, not mine. My mom would help me. She used to tutor when I was younger.
never
So
got
she helped
help.
me.
But I never needed it either, so maybe that's why. I don't know. They just assumed like I knew everything, and I'm just like, hold up now.
It wasn't
But,
assuming me, baby. I'm gonna let you know I need help.
I don't know. I never asked for it either. I don't know. I was a weird kid. I don't know. I never asked for help. But taking a test is what I would say too, Anna. Only because a test, one and done. Like if we could replace homework with just tests,
Really?
you're only gonna take a test like once every couple weeks, every 3 weeks. I don't know. It's just not.
I feel like with the homework, you have the resource right in front of you. They're asking you a question or
Too
to write an
tedious.
essay. No, baby. I don't have
Homework
no
is
type
too
of
tedious.
and Google.
No,
There's no type of.
it's too much. I didn't have Google really like
I'm not stressed
in
when
the
I'm doing
younger.
homework. I'm doing homework with Elaine, and I'm saying like, when did I learn this? And she's gonna text. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm sitting here and I'm like, baby, this is what you do on your test. She's like, yeah, mom, this is what you do. And I'm like, no, this is wrong. And then when I click it on the computer, I'm wrong. And I'm like,
Yeah, they're teaching the kids differently now.
Right.
You're gonna have to relearn. You're gonna feel slow, but you definitely gotta relearn with her.
And dude, because she's like, mom, see, I told you, and I gotta apologize because I was wrong. I'm like, here we go. So yeah, but I don't remember learning none of this stuff in the first grade. That is.
Yeah, I feel like they learn a lot early on. I'm like, dang, we were slow. Because I feel like they was waiting until we got to a certain level to really teach us heavy stuff. Now they straight out the gate, oh, you're going to learn this, you're going to learn some fractions, you're going to... I'm like, dang.
Yeah, she was doing like long math, like you had to set up the math the proper way, and you had to figure it out. Like, you know, of course they use a number line and everything. And I'm like, why are you learning this in the first grade? She said, well, mom, this is how you do this. I said, as long as you know how to do it. I'm good.
That was my mom. It's like, okay, you got it.
You do not.
I really did have it though.
Right.
And it says, I don't have time for homework. I'm a great test taker. It's crazy. I'm not gonna say I'm a great test taker. I'm not a horrible one either. I just feel like a test is just less time consuming, like, and plus your time. You know, with homework, you be getting so much. Like homework, they give you a lot.
I had no problem with homework, but when it came to test, it might be a different conversation. But
it's like, can I get an extra 15 minutes, please?
Right. I'm like, can I, please?
All right, let's move on. So we're gonna move on into the groups. So I have 2 sets of groups, and you're just gonna choose like which group you prefer. So we're gonna take it back to the old school. Like I said, I don't know too many new school groups. Escape or SWV? Which group do you prefer to listen to? That's so hard.
It is so hard. Like, you couldn't do something that like you might be like, dang.
They gotta be on the like same level.
Okay, one more time. Let me think of the songs.
Escape or SWV? Which group?
Dang. They can't be 50-50?
I know. I was kind of mad at myself because I'm like, dang, I really don't want to choose. But you gotta just choose. Just choose and then say, but in real life, you listening to them equally. Like, you love them both equally. But you gotta choose.
I feel like Escape was like a little bit before us, ain't it?
Yeah, they're both 90s groups.
No, it is, but I don't know, man. Kia, that's hard.
I know, you gotta just choose. Just say something. We can't be here all night. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for coming in, y'all. She done gave me a hard option. We could do like a little Boys to Men or something.
Oh, that's next. So please chill. So chill. Can you finish this question first?
Okay.
SWV or Escape?
I guess. Okay. I'll agree with you, Anna. I'll say SWV. Escape is cool too, though.
No, Anna, you had said Escape. Should have been like, I guess Escape.
No, because I'm like, that's so hard.
I love SWV it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Just lock that in. Final answer.
You can't. I'm gonna need you to make it where like I'm gonna like slightly dislike.
No. I'm gonna say SWV as well, but I love. Okay, so here's the thing. SWV is what I really grew up listening to. I really didn't listen to Escape much. I don't know how, because they were like, you know, both them girls. But I really heard SWV more. Then when I became an adult, I listened to Escape, and I love their music. So off the strength of I've been rocking with this SWV longer, I'm gonna say them. But I love them both equally, to be honest, in real life.
Well, groups, yeah.
They both good. But I will agree, Anna, SWB do have better vocalists, yeah.
Better
I will
sound.
agree. But I still like both of their sounds. All right, Boys to Men.
Like 50-50 on that. But okay.
Anyway, we said SWB, but we love them both. Boys
Go
to
ahead.
Men or New Edition? Which one? Boys to Men
Um,
and New Edition.
what's the man? What, the older version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the older. The
End
new.
of the Road or Can You Stand the Rain? No, this is Boys to Men is End of the Road. New Edition, Can You Stand the Rain? Just to give you perspective on
Well,
who's singing.
I like Boys to Men
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lock that in.
I'm over here thinking real
You
hard.
seem so unsure. Yo, these were not supposed to stump you. We weren't supposed to be
No,
on live.
it's not stop me. It's
It's
because
not 18.
this is what I do. This is what I do.
Oh
I put on my
my
Alexa
god.
and I tell her to play all my 90s by so and so. So then it's like all the mixtures of songs is gonna come from both. So I like the song. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to choose because I have my moments I'm in the mood for this and I have my moments I'm in the mood for that. But I like both. But I just go with Boyz II Men. That's cool.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Boys to Men. They're
It's
just
a
more
lot of fans
consistent when it comes
because
to
I'm
their
like
music.
they're actually groups I like. So I'm like, I expect you to at least throw some I don't like. So it'll be easy, but
No, I gotta do hard ones, though.
right,
But
you
no,
see what
definitely
I'm
Boys
thinking
to
real hard.
Men.
This how
They're
we on
not
the
that
test
hard
too.
though. You're literally just overthinking it. Boys to Men is more consistent with their music. With New Edition, it's like I like some songs and I don't like some songs. You know what I'm saying? So they're a little, for me and my preference, a little less consistent as far as what I like. So yeah. All right, that concludes tonight's live. We done went over a little bit, but that's okay. We was rocking, we was rolling. Thank you to everyone that commented. We love the interaction, we love the engagement. We do this every Tuesday. So if you chimed in and you're like, oh, never seen y'all live, we do this every Tuesday. So come back again next
What
week,
you
okay?
say? I never seen y'all.
Never seen y'all live
That's
before.
a
So come back
trip.
again next Tuesday. But we'll be on
Thank you
Chanel's
for
page.
sipping on that little frozen drink over there a little too long. At the nuts. Oh, it's empty. Oh, baby, look. Empty is crazy. Okay.
Because Chanel, you're so long-winded. So as you're talking,
You gonna get up off
as
me.
you talk.
You gonna get up off
That's
me.
something to do.
All right. What was the exit? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted. My bad. Go ahead.
Make sure you all follow our podcast page, Live and Unfiltered. We post short form content over there, so that's reels, and we post our flyers over there. So make sure you stay engaged with our podcast page. Also follow both me and Chanel if you're not already. And yeah, also
We will be live
our
on
YouTube.
my page.
No, we're gonna talk about YouTube.
Oh, my bad. We'll be live on my page on next Tuesday. And take it away, Kia.
We will be posting this full live on our YouTube page later this week. So hit the link in our bio, in our Live and Unfiltered Instagram bio, and you will be able to head over to our YouTube
You
page.
been sipping a little too long. So.
Where you can subscribe. You can subscribe to us. And Chanel is acting, now you making me get giddy. No, I got the giggles now.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all on next Tuesday. Bye, y'all.
Have a good night.
Live.